I'm hearing this a lot, like it's some type of growing trend amongst health practitioners and medical professionals because a lot of people are making the transition online. And I'm hearing things like, I don't feel confident. I'm scared of the trolls. I don't want to put myself out there. Now, this would be okay if it was coming from health professionals and coaches with zero client experience. But I'm hearing this from seasoned professionals, health practitioners, medical professionals, licensed and regulated mental health care workers who've been in the field for 5 years, 10 years, even 20 years tell me that they're nervous, scared to take their practice online. And so sitting inside those four walls, working one-to-one with clients feels safe and familiar and certain for sure. But you know it's time to take that online. You know it's time to learn how to stop charging by the hour. So the question becomes, well, how do you do it with confidence? And so I'm going to answer that for you in today's video. So let's dive on in. Okay, so this video is all about confidence or lack thereof. And before we officially dive in and I walk you through the 4 C's to confidence that I learned from a man named Dan Sullivan, who changed my perspective on self-confidence and on the ability to show up even when I feel like a fraud, let me introduce myself so that you know that I am credible to be sharing this with you. So hello, I am Lori Kennedy, the founder of the Wellness Business Hub Inc., and we work with health pros and coaches who want to stop charging by the hour and instead have a freedom-based business so that you can transform lives for a living all on your own terms. And so if that is you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you get notified of any of the future videos that I put out there. So we're talking about confidence or lack thereof. And this is a critical conversation because we are at a time where we are all making this transition to the online space. And if we don't do that, likely you will end up in the category with Blockbuster and Kodak because we are the first generation of practitioners and coaches, of medical professionals who can work 100% online with clients and patients. And so with that comes a learning curve. With that comes new technology. With that comes new ways of being able to provide care. And I get that. And it feels uncertain and it feels scary and nobody wants to look like an idiot on the internet. And I get it. So I want to take you back almost 20 years to a time where imposter syndrome and feeling like a fraud and feeling nervous that I was going to get called out almost took me down and stopped me dead in my tracks. And this was when I had just terminated my rental agreement with the chiropractor to rent a room in her clinic. In my mind, I closed my own clinic. I did not, because for 8 months I tried to get clients and I didn't know how to get clients. And so I went back to the gym where I was working as a personal trainer at the time. And within a month of getting back to the gym, it was the Women's Fitness Clubs of Canada. The nutritionist who was working there got fired and they asked me to step into her shoes. And so she had already had a program running. She had built up a really nice level of clientele and a really nice following. And so I basically just walked into her shoes. And the issue was that I was in my mid to late 20s and the demographic of the people at the Women's Fitness Clubs of Canada was perimenopausal and menopausal. And I wasn't. And so the first free talk that I ever gave was to a room of menopausal women. And I was so nervous. I thought they were going to eat me alive. I thought they were going to take me down. I thought I was going to hear, who do you think you are, little girl? Like, how could you possibly know what we're going through? You're like 20. You're not credible. Like, I thought I was going to get booed off the stage. I was so nervous to go into that room and deliver that talk that I almost didn't do it. I almost canceled. And I remember riding up the escalator because the gym was in a mall and it was on the second floor. And I remember riding up the escalator thinking, you were smart, you know what you're talking about. You were smart, you know what you're talking about. You were smart, you know what you're talking about. And I just felt like such a fraud because I had never experienced what these women were going through. I didn't know what it felt like to have a hot flash. I didn't know what it felt like to, wake up one day and have put on weight. I didn't know what any of that felt like. I was pre-babies, even like I had my little tight personal trainer pre-baby body. And there I was walking into a room of 40 perimenopausal, menopausal women who were genuinely struggling. They were genuinely struggling. And I wanted so badly to deliver for them. And so I remember just going up that escalator being like, I'm smart. I know what I'm talking about. I am smart. I know what I'm talking about. And the reality is that when I did that talk, a lot of them did question me. And I was very nervous. And I'm sure they could tell. But the next time I did it, I was more prepared and I was less nervous. And then the next time I did it, I was more prepared and far less nervous. And then the fourth time I did it, I walked in there like I owned the place because I had already gained a level of capability. I had already gained a level of experience. And so from the first time to the fourth time, the information that I shared didn't really change, but my experience changed because I had done it 4 times already. I knew what to expect. I knew the questions they were going to ask me. And so I was now gaining confidence that I could command the room, that I could deliver for these women in a way that I know that they needed. And so if you are someone who doesn't have experience in the online space, if you don't have experience creating content, if you don't have experience doing video like this, if you don't have experience performing a webinar, if you don't have experience performing on video, if you don't have any of that experience, it makes complete sense that you are petrified to do it. It makes complete sense. If you agonize over what to say and how to show up, if you're afraid to look like an idiot on the internet, if you know that you have experience and you know that you can help people, but how to do that in a way that looks professional and smart and appropriate online, there is a learning curve. There absolutely is. And so this is why you likely feel or are likely experiencing a lack of confidence. It's not because you don't know how to help people. You do. And you know that you do. It's the other side of it. It's the delivery side. It's the side where you now have to deliver care in an entirely different format that is foreign to you. And so without any practice, without any training, without any skills, where you are right now is you feel inferior. You feel like a fraud. You feel like you're not going to show up and be able to be your best self. And that's because you're lacking capability. It's not because you can't do it. And so once I heard these 4 C's from Dan Sullivan, everything shifted for me. I was like, oh. And so what I want for you is to be able to show up and practice despite not feeling confident. That's what I want for you because that's the only way for you to be able to gain momentum. That first time that I did that first talk, that second time, that third time, that fourth time, I wasn't good at it. I stumbled my way through it. I basically read off my notes. I wasn't charismatic. I didn't know how to answer questions without confusing them. Like being able to deliver a talk like that requires a level of skill set that I just didn't have. I didn't have it the first time, the second time, the third time. By the fourth time, I was getting better at it. The difference between me doing a talk then and me doing a talk now is worlds apart because I've trained, I've studied how to be a better speaker. I've acquired skills, I've practiced, I've gotten feedback. And so now I feel much more confident being able to go into a room and command it. And so these 4 C's to building confidence that I learned from Dan Sullivan really helped to shift my perspective so that I could take action and do the things like transitioning my business online before I felt confident. And so the thing is, waiting to feel confident is in direct opposition to my drive and ambition. And the same goes for you. Because the more that I or you wait to feel confident, the longer it takes. I'm waiting, right? The less action I take, the longer I wait to feel a certain way before I go and do the thing, the less action I actually take. And the less action I take, the more that reinforces the belief that I can't do it. And that then decreases my confidence even more and lowers my chances of ever doing the thing. I have practitioners inside of Zero to Clients who cannot bring themselves to do a Facebook Live, even though I script the entire thing from start to finish. They can't do it. And it's because they've built it up in their minds as this make or break situation instead of using the 4 C's. So the 4 C's are courage, commitment, capability, and confidence. And so before you ever get to C number 4, which is confidence, you first have to muster up the courage to even just step forward, to even just claim space, to even just say, yes, I'm going to do this. We have to have courage because there is no capability yet. You don't know what you're doing. And so you have to have the courage to do it regardless of whether it's done well or not. You have to have the courage to start. You have to have the courage to do the Facebook Live, for example, the first time. And you have to have a level of commitment to follow through, because courage and commitment go hand in hand. And so you need courage and commitment so that you can go and do the thing that you probably suck at first, right? A free talk, a webinar, creating a reel, doing enrollment calls, right? You have to have courage and commitment so that you can go and do the thing and build up capability. Because the only way to get to confident is to have courage and commitment so that you can do the thing and build up a level of capability. And then confidence comes. Confidence comes after you get good at the thing. Right? Confidence comes after you get good. Then you are like, yeah, I'm really confident about this. It's because you've practiced it. It's because you know you can do it, right? There's a difference between self-belief and confidence. I believe that I will get good at this, which is why I'm going to practice. I'm not good at it right now, but I believe in my ability to learn, and I believe in my ability to get better at things. And so my self-belief, right, partnered with my courage, partnered with my commitment, then allows me to go and do something knowing that I'm likely not going to be very good at it the first time, but that's okay because I rationally know that I have to feel super uncomfortable. And that is the only way to then get better at it. It's the only way to build confidence. And so I teach this inside of Zero to Clients to practitioners and coaches who are very smart. And I just have to say, look, you have to have enough courage to be able to do it badly for a while. And you have to be able to withstand that, because the only way to get better and the only way to build confidence and the only way to build a level of mastery is repetition. That's it. It's just repetition. And rationally, we all know this, right? But to think about it in the form of, okay, I don't have any reps under my belt, therefore I suck at this, and that's okay, right? Now, on the flip side, if we say, okay, well, I don't want to look like an idiot on the internet, so how do I prepare better, right? How do I practice behind the scenes so that when I go and show my face publicly, I don't make a fool of myself? And so this is where investing in skill acquirement, investing in a mentor, investing in training. When I wanted to take my business online, I didn't even attempt to do it on my own. I invested $20,000 into a high-level mastermind to work one-on-one with a mentor so that he could teach and train and coach me. And 8 months later, I showed up online ready to go because I was practicing and doing the work behind the scenes. And so that when I did finally show up and put myself out there, I had a level of confidence because I was doing the work behind the scenes. The issue that I'm seeing that I wanted to address is that not having the confidence is stopping really smart, really purpose-driven health pros and coaches from even getting started behind the scenes. Because the first step isn't to do a Facebook Live or a webinar or a video like this. It's a lot of behind the scenes work. And so I don't want it to stop you from even working behind the scenes so that you can get those reps in, so that when you are ready to launch, when you are ready to show up publicly, you've had a little bit of practice, you've built up a little bit of capability. You're still nervous because you've never done it live and people are watching, fair enough, but at least you've put in some reps so that you're not starting from scratch. And that is how you empower yourself to take your practice online. This is how you empower yourself to transition into the online space when you're used to working one-to-one in four walls where no one can see you and no one can judge you. And you're used to working in a way that feels safe and comfortable for you. It's putting in the reps, getting practice, working with somebody who can teach and train and coach you, and recognizing that confidence, when you're doing something new, confidence is the last thing to show up. So I hope this helps you. I hope this feels like a little bit of a relief to you, where you know that you're going to have to put in the reps behind the scenes before you start to build up a level of capability and feel more confident when you put yourself out there and launch your coaching business. So remember to subscribe if this video resonated with you, and click that bell, and I will see you in the next one.